Hi everybody, welcome back. In our previous episode, we talked about IFTA and what you need to know. In our current episode, we'll talk about state-specific permits and the requirements that come along with those. But make sure you hit subscribe below to tune in for more. One of the most commonly questions we get asked about state-specific permits is how do we know if a trucking company needs that permit? It's very important to know that if your trucks are driving to or through a state-specific state, such as Kentucky, New Mexico, New York, Oregon, or Connecticut, that you pay attention to the gross weight requirements. For example, New York is at 18,000 pound gross weight requirement. We also have New Mexico, Oregon, and Connecticut at a 26,000 pound gross weight. And lastly, we have Kentucky at a 60,000 pound gross weight. So if your trucks are traveling to or through these states, it is very important that you reach out to All About Trucks and let us help you open up these permits and keep them compliant for you. What is the application process for state-specific permits and how long does it typically take for each permit? Well, starting out with Kentucky, that is one simpler permit to apply for. That one gets done online, as well as New Mexico and Connecticut. But we have a couple of permits that we need to fax in the application. So that would be for New York and Oregon. We would have to fax those in and they take a little bit longer to be approved depending on the current wait time for the applications that they have in line. But if you are looking to do Kentucky and New Mexico and Connecticut, we can certainly get those done for you within the same day. Just reach out to All About Trucks and we'll be happy to help you. So when we talk about permits, we do have to talk about what the fees are that are associated with them and what are the penalties that come along with them as well. Fees to open up permits really depend on the permit itself. If you are opening Oregon, you are required to have a bond filed, and that bond depends on the number of trucks that you are enrolling into the account. Such other permits as in New York, you are paying $1.50 per truck. New Mexico, it's $10 per truck, but it really depends on the state permit. If you have any additional questions on what the fees are, you're welcome to comment below and we'll be happy to answer that for you. And now regarding penalties, it really depends on the state itself. Some of those states have really expensive penalties, such as Kentucky. If you get stopped in Kentucky and you have no permit, most likely they'll keep you at the wait station until that issue is resolved. Or they can impose a $500 penalty for any late filings. We have another state such as New York, where if you get caught in New York without a permit, it could be a ticket for up to $2,000. Other situations, such as in Oregon, if the driver gets stopped in Oregon, they are issued tickets leading up to $450. It really depends on the state. Can we apply for these permits online, and what states allow us to apply online? Well, we have two states that require a fax application. That would be Oregon and New York, where that application takes some time to be processed since we have to fax it in. But we have a few other permits such as Connecticut, Kentucky, and New Mexico where you can certainly apply online, but we would like to ask you to call All About Trucks where we can help you do that and keep your account compliant. And then for our last question of today is, how do I renew these permits? Well, renewal is different based on each permit. We have certain permits where it's an automatic renewal each year, and then you have a couple of them, such as New Mexico and New York, that get renewed based on the renewal period. New York is a 3-year period that the permits are active, and New Mexico is every year that you have to complete that renewal. But let's recap on everything that we talked about for state permits today. We talked about the application process, what it takes if you need those permits, what states require them, and what the weight requirements are. We also talked about what fees are associated with those permits. But to make things easier, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel below, leave a comment if you have any questions, and you can always give us a call as well. Thank you.